Strike the last word.
I move to strike the last word, Mr. Chairman.
You recognize?
Thank you so much. And I want to thank my colleagues. And so I don't want to feign any outrage here. I just want to keep the main thing the main thing. What we're talking about here is a resolution of Mr. Doggett's that I co-sponsored is a resolution of inquiry regarding the accessing of our private taxpayer data by an unelected, someone who is actually ineligible to run for president, multi-billionaire who's had no Senate confirmation, no oath of office, no ethics training, or anything that he's taken, and he has violated Section 6103. Now, I've been on this committee long enough to really see the outrage that we have had on this committee about violations of Section 6103. And I just want to remind you, Mr. Chairman, that we were so outraged that we increased the penalties. You know, don't forget, we increased penalties on violations of Section 6103. And so we simply are making an inquiry as to what this man is doing with our data, why he's accessing it, and that's really a fair question. And what do we find ourselves facing when we do this? All these non sequiturs, you know, trans people and what money is spent on condoms and, you know, I mean, if you don't, you know, undocumented immigrants, that's what we do for a living. We voted, you know, we've got very qualified, capable people on the Appropriations Committee on your side, you know, who can go through, you know, budget, you know, account by account and eliminate what you call waste, fraud, and abuse. It's a non sequitur because that has nothing to do whether that's true or not. If someone is getting a Social Security check and they're 300 years old, that's a terrible thing. But it doesn't have anything to do with an ineligible person accessing our data. And so I just want to make sure that we stay on the subject. We're not talking about trans people today or the 0.002% of people in America who apparently are trans people. We're not talking about undocumented immigrants. And we certainly are not talking about anointing an unelected, naturalized citizen, not born here in America, citizen, who's a billionaire, to be able to march in with federal marshals, even at the direction, and to literally threaten people out of their seats to access our information. So now, if this is not a crime that has been committed, which is what I think it is, then we should have Mr. Musk sitting there explaining to us how going through our Social Security information, our taxpayer information, is going to rid us of the problem of trans people. How it's going to solve, how it's going to reconcile, you know, the majority party's concerned about diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know, what's the plan for excluding people through going through our personal information? It's a non sequitur. And I would yield the last 55 seconds to my good friend.